Yeah, those guys were great. Caleb Thielbar, all of them. But Thielbar, I thought, going 6 up, 6 down, and really kind of put the game in a good place for us, and put the rest of the bullpen in a good position. And they all just attacked the zone with strikes. It's a team that they don't chase very much, and they're good at that. And our bullpen today just attacked the zone and did a fabulous job with that.
Craig, what do you think of the way the lineup got on Gallen right away aggressively before he could settle in?
Yeah, you talk about it a lot, and it's like these starters, they haven't been out there. Like sometimes the best time to get them is those first 2 innings before they settled in. They haven't been out on the mound for 5 days. We did it. That's pretty much exactly what we did. Made him work hard for the first 2 innings. He never got comfortable kind of for the first time and a half through the lineup. And then he settled in, and he was really tough. That's how you got to beat some of these guys.
Coming into the year, we kind of talked about Tucker and Seiya being a 1-2 punch, but it seems like early on Busch has kind of elevated his game as well.
Yeah, I mean he's a good hitter. I think he's a young hitter. He had a really successful year last year, and I think he's the goal is that put 500 plate appearances under your belt, learn from them. Just get a little better from him, understand what you have to be a little bit better at, and I think he's went through the off season into spring training and made him just shrink your hole just a little bit and get yourself able to hit a couple more pitches in the zone, expand your good part of the zone. He's done a nice job of it.
Brown battled through those 4 innings, but what's the missing element right now?
Yeah, I mean I think a little bit is just some against this team, like when you throw a non-competitive, the pitches, you're not going to get a lot of swings out of the. I mean, Ben can get swings out of the strike zone as well as anybody that we have, but you're going to get less against this team, and so they're going to make you earn every out. Ben, he struggled with that a little bit today. He made pitches when he had to. I thought he got going. He got kind of punched in the face a little bit. It was a little wobbly in the first inning, but it got better as he went. He battled and he kept runs off the board the last 3 innings. So credit to him for just kind of battling through it. But he had to throw a lot of pitches to do it. No question. And I think they're a part of that. And just being around the strike zone. The breaking ball is a tough pitch that. It says you just throw it for a strike. It's not always that easy. It's a good breaking ball. That's why he gets a lot of swings on it.
What did you think about Ben Johnson's first pitch?
I thought it was pretty good. I hope he told Brad that was coming because that was some gas.
What was your interaction like with him?
He came in the office before the game and met his family. Great, beautiful young family. Feels kind of weird saying that, but and then he. He's just, it's all in front of him. That's what's kind of cool, and so that's what you kind of think when meeting him. You're thinking you got a great future in front of you, and you got a lot in front of you, and you got challenges in front of you, but you got a lot of fun in front of you, and I know he's already fell in love with the city of Chicago, and looking forward to the draft and getting started. But it was fun meeting his family, and wish him all the best.
What do you think about Seiya? Yesterday like a 1 last run, and today it's like a 2 runs after 2 out.
Yeah, I mean, I just think those big swings. Seiya has the ability, so much power, right? He just hits the ball so hard, and he feels like he's in a spot where he's just doing a little better job driving the ball and getting a pitch and driving it, and the ability to just put runs on the board fast. Certainly something he's capable of doing.
Yeah, I believe we have the best lineup in the National League, Bruce. Our guys are just before I start on that, our guys have just been doing an incredible job. And I do truly believe we have one of the most, top to bottom, just thorough, great offenses in baseball. And kudos to them for putting up runs, especially off of my first inning. And just makes things a little bit easier out there when constantly. You're in every game. Yeah, and competing against the D-backs, they're good. They're good lineup. Corbin Carroll's a great player. They have a lot of great players in that lineup, and they definitely didn't make it easy. I didn't make it easier on myself. Some silly mistakes, whether it's hit by pitch in the foot or just not really. I think it was a leadoff walk in the second. Just not really getting on it quick enough and getting there. I think that it was 2-0 to Corbin in the first inning. So there's just mistakes that I need to do a better job of minimizing. But overall, I think I had some really good stuff today. I battled, and I'm pleased with the performance. I'm grateful that I was able to get through that.
Is the big takeaway than just that getting with control, just able to win out,
Yeah.
able to get out of there kind of simple with that?
Yeah, I think it's just getting the first out of the inning needs to be a little bit better. That fourth inning was great. I was really excited, and then I hit Alec Thomas in the foot with a changeup. It's like stuff like that is frustrating. But overall, I'm really happy with runners on and feeling confident and comfortable, and it wasn't like I was letting up line drive missiles and those were the outs. I was getting strikeouts, I was getting swing and miss, and everything I want to accomplish. And ultimately, walks are going to be part of my game. They're going to be, just I get a lot of swing and miss. I need to chase. That's kind of just how I do things. So there's going to be walks, but not having 4, maybe 2, and then being able to pitch 5th and 6th inning is the goal. But ultimately, just got to be pitch to pitch.
You are facing a lineup that doesn't chase quite as much.
Yeah.
And you're not getting some of the swing and miss on pitches that you might otherwise.
Yeah.
What's the adjustment like in game?
Yeah, it needs to be like what you saw in the 4th inning before I hit out, or ultimately before the 0-2 to Corbin Carroll. I hung a breaking ball, and it's just that constant attack. It just needs to be there. Also understanding like my first pitch doesn't need to be perfect, but it just needs to be in the zone. And that needs to be doesn't matter how many outs inning, but I was put in a lot of situations today where I had to be perfect because it was first and second with no out, 1 out constantly. So
How impressive is it for you to see a guy like Gallen who gives up 6 runs in the first 2 innings, pitch 6, and basically, takes the loss, but it's a win for the team.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that because it was 6th inning. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I think there was a point where we were pretty locked in for pitch count wise, as you see on the board, and then that's really impressive for him to keep to battle. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's done great things. He's going to continue to do great things. I think for me, I need a little piece of that just to continue to battle through. But then again, I had a really good one last week. It's just baseball's baseball, and just got to keep on putting in good work. And I'm excited for this week to have I'm not sure what my schedule's going to look like, but just having a couple more off days and just a little bit of a reset to really put some solid work in and get ready for my next one.
Yeah, I think it was important for us to just kind of get after Zach pretty early. He's one of the best pitchers in the game, so the fact that we just kind of put a bunch of good at-bats together and came up with some big hits was big.
Because of the offensive success early, what do you attribute to what you guys are doing? And again, I know it's small sample, but just like what this group could be over the course of a full season.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of good hitters, honestly, like top to bottom. Our whole roster, just guys who give consistent good at-bats. We've been seeing it for basically since game 1. Just the at-bat quality, no matter the situation, no matter how many runs we're up, down, no matter if we're coming off the bench, it's pretty good at-bats all around.
Seeing a lot of you guys, especially you and Pete, using the ballpark. I mean, just ball pitch, you're hitting the ball hard where you want to at this point. How difficult is that, and how much of that element is that in this game?
Yeah, I think it is difficult, but I think that you're usually in a pretty good spot when you're doing that. When you're using all pitches away or pitches in, like when you're using the whole field, you're usually in a pretty good spot. It just opens up a lot. Opens up a lot of hits, a lot of extra base hits. Just gives yourself a good chance to get a hit, and then you just try and stay there.
Piling up the wins at this point is really important because you're going to be able to continue this way.
Yeah, I think just walking in today or walking in tomorrow, just any day, just with the mindset to win the day, and if it doesn't go that way, rolling over to the next one. But they stockpile when you just walk in and you just keep winning the day, and yeah.
How about the bullpen? Good.
Yeah, awesome. We got some guys who can throw the ball, and that's going to be huge for us. I think if you want to be a really good team, you gotta do the little things really well in all facets of the game. You have some really good teams that do that really well, and I think this group does that.
Obviously, it's a lineup that can be pretty challenging top to bottom. What made you effective against them today?
Really been working on my arm action the last couple weeks, and it's really starting to come back, which helps my fastball have a ton of carry. And throwing it in the zone, you see the kind of contact they're getting on that, a lot of pop-ups, and hopefully be able to maintain that moving forward.
When you say arm action, can you describe?
I'm just shortening it up a little bit. When it gets a little bit too long, it kind of drags behind, and I end up cutting the ball a little bit rather than getting behind it and really getting that good backspin.
After a 10-run inning yesterday, do you guys, like, as a bullpen, do you feel like, okay, we got to come out and redeem ourselves, or does it work like that?
The life of a bullpen guy is just short memory, so can't really think about that kind of stuff. Yeah, it happened, a couple times this year against this team in the 8th inning, and we really just got to keep our head on straight, try to just go out there and execute pitch to pitch and not worry about the stuff that happened yesterday. Obviously, it's hard not to have that in the back of your mind, but you really have to have as short of a memory as possible.
Did you look at the flags sooner today than most days?
You know what? I'm trying not to do that at all, actually.
How nice is it to be a relief pitcher and being talked to about a win? Normally, guys are sitting here going, well, gave it up, but in the best. Today, you were the main guy after Ben and Counsell talked about how important your 2 innings were.
Yeah, I knew we definitely had some guys that were going to be hanging a little bit today after yesterday, so just being able to go out there and give them 2 was huge for sure. They asked me if I was good after inning 1 and said basically, whatever you need. So feeling good and trying to carry that over to the field and do the most I can, and definitely giving 2 today was huge for the guys down there.
What were the vibes in the bullpen? You got new guys, you got young guys, you got veterans, you got former starters. Mm-hmm. Kind of a eclectic group you have this year.
Yeah, I guess honestly that's kind of how most bullpens are. A lot of different characteristics down there. Definitely there's always a few former starters. Guys that quit starting and then have to go to the bullpen, stuff picks up a little bit, and then they can be an effective reliever for a number of years. And then bullpen. Most teams don't want to. They want to have some young, cheap guys in the bullpen, and so it's just on us as veteran guys to try to go down there to try to keep these guys in line a little bit and do the best we can to help raise them into good pitchers. Really teach them how to go from day to day and have a good routine and be ready every day. That's such a big deal that people don't understand is what we do off the field to make sure that we can go out there every day and pitch.